Hi ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Outriders. Oh my god, we got so much to talk about, and yes, Outriders is so close. I finally got myself a legendary after farming so many times. It's insane, but of course it is. Every single time you increase your world level or your world tier, you're going to get better and better chances of getting legendaries. We're rocking the one of the lowest possible chances to get a legendary from a world drop or from a mission drop, whatever it might be. Regardless, I finally got one to drop. It is pretty interesting looking, and I wanted to revisit the Devastator. Also, the legendaries in this game look so sick. Anyways, also I wanted to revisit the Devastator because I had initially said a couple videos back, as soon as I played the Devastator, oh my god, this character feels so powerful. And then I thought, okay, maybe the Technomancer was a little weird because he was support based, so maybe that's why he was maybe weaker. Maybe the other classes are just as strong, if not stronger. Mostly no, but yes. Again, some of you guys were telling me some stuff about it, but I still think objectively you have these gaps in his playstyle which can be repaired when it comes to his skill tree, but not quite like the Devastator or the Trickster. The Trickster, I think, definitively, from all that we have right now, unless we get like enemies that deal so much damage to where like they deal so much damage to where if you get hit once, you get one banged, and therefore the Devastator is the only character that can stand atop that mountain of damage because he can resist a shit ton of damage or completely negate it altogether. Then maybe, but even still, I think that the Trickster is definitively the best class in the game, which makes sense because in this game, it's all about just shredding through enemies as quick as you possibly can. There's not like, yeah, it doesn't seem like there's much like oh, you need to have a shit ton of resistance to endure this. It doesn't seem like that's the case. Most enemies don't have like an immunity phase, or god, I hope they don't. But yeah. But I wanted to come back to the Trickster and see, is the Trickster as insane as I thought he was when I first played him? And also, I didn't get a lot of gear for him that really showcased his power, which is also another reason why I thought the Trickster was so good, is because you only really need one ability, Reflect, to really make things absolutely nutty. Whereas the other characters, you kind of need to have like a special armor piece that starts giving you like 2 casts of the abilities. That way you can always keep enemies on fire, or you can always have blighted rounds going if you have a big enough magazine for a weapon. So it's important that you have a good weapon before you can actually use this ability to its fullest. Whereas the ability itself for the Devastator, the Reflect Bullets, is just kind of good by itself. That the help. Now, I will say, a lot of people were saying that the Devastator is too powerful. Devastator needed to be nerfed. I think, if you have not played the Trickster, play the Trickster. The Trickster makes the Devastator look like an absolute bitch. And that's without any of his skill investment. If you look at the Devastator and you look at his skills, he doesn't have an insane amount of like damage amplification abilities. I think there's one in here that gives you 45 extra weapon damage. The Trickster gives himself 50, and he has like 3 of these in the same skill tree. So like, yeah, the Devastator only had a couple. Yeah, I can't even find one of the other damage ones. See, there's one more at the very bottom, but instead you have to activate an entirely different thing that's not even weapon damage, but it's anomaly power. So yeah. I don't think the Trickster is going to be the best class. I think it's definitely going to... Oh, sorry. I don't think the Devastator is going to be the best class. I think it's going to be the Trickster, just because of how valuable damage is in a game where you need to cut down things incredibly quickly. That doesn't mean that this character can't have a weapon that scales off of defense or armor or whatever that can make him a powerhouse in his own right. Totally, absolutely possible. I digress. Let's get into it. So we are rocking the same skills as the Devastator. As much as I do like Earthquake, it's not quite as good as combusting and smashing down onto the ground, and this is just nice utility to have just to reduce damage. Honestly, this one I could probably replace because it hasn't been proving itself to be that valuable. I think it should last a lot longer. Also, it doesn't look like what it says it looks like. In the little tiny like thumbnail, it shows a dude covered with rock, like a giant metal chess piece, and then when you use it, it's just like a fucking, you're just literally become rock. You become rock. You return to rock. It's so stupid looking. Also, your clothing is rock too. It's just silly. You don't look cool at all. You just look like you literally become a rock, and you're also blind. But I digress. What you guys probably want to see is, of course, this legendary in perfect, succinct view. It looks fucking fantastic. I will say, bit of a dick move. Bit of a dick move that they're like, hey, why don't we give the Devastator, a super nut range class, a range gun? Great. No, it's a scout rifle, by the way. It's a scout rifle. It has high crit damage, has decent status, and it heals me when I get long range, or when I deal long range damage. It kind of neat, but the crit damage is fantastic, honestly. Also, it's tier 3 of the weaken trap, which says cause an explosion dealing 45 or 46 damage, inflicting weaken on enemies within a 5-meter radius. Also, this is on a 3-second cooldown. Honestly, this isn't that great. This perk, I'm assuming you can get other perks, and this is a not very good perk. But its crit multiplier is pretty insane. This has a 200% crit multiplier, but it's also a sniper rifle. If we go to something like a scout, do I have one? Yes, a scout rifle. It's 250 crit multiplier. Is this less? No, it's about the same. 250 crit multiplier. Is that normal? No, it's okay. So that's just scouts. Scouts have a high crit multiplier. Okay, not bad. Also, this thing's secondary perk is a burning bullet. Honestly, I think the weaken trap is its special legendary perk, which is kind of shitty. Honestly, it's not that good, but it's the first legendary I got to drop, and I've been farming for quite a while. I was just trying to farm for gear for the Devastator so that I could show you guys how absolutely cracked the Devastator can be. Again, I think Trickster still takes his throne big time, but I will be going with the Devastator when it comes to my first playthrough, because he's stronger in a more consistent-ish way. It's not really true either, just because, yeah, the Trickster can deal so much damage that it's just kind of like, things don't last long enough to hurt you. But I digress. Let's go over the Devastator's gear that I'm rocking with him. First of all, I have this shotgun, which is insane. Not only does it do really good damage, it has a good magazine, but also it has weapon leech, but on top of all of that, probably better for it to have crit damage as a multiplier. But anyways, its perk is Soul Devourer. Killing shots regenerates 62 points of health. I didn't know that was a perk. That's fantastic. I'm sorry I keep blowing on the mic, by the way. The popping is going to drive me nuts. Anyways, this is insane. This is really, really good. You guys will see that we just eviscerate things when we snap our fingers. It's great. As of our gear, this is huge. Golem, doesn't really matter. Golem, honestly, a lot of the kind of like cool perks that I've seen for Golem, pretty shitty. This is kind of cool. Whenever we get impaled, we can impale another target. Awesome. I think you can get like multiple of the same kind of perk on the same armor, so you could theoretically just impale like 7 enemies at once, maybe in the future. Don't know about that. We'll see. But this one is fantastic. This is the one that I had when I showed you guys the Devastator the first run, which is whenever I reflect bullets back at enemies, it applies a bleed status, and also the Devastator has things in his skill tree that massively amplify bleed damage. Awesome. And then his pants, or this perk on his pants, is incredible. Auto reflect. Reflected bullets, you can now fight while this skill is activated, but you cannot manually deactivate this skill. It only negates 50 of the damage. So now you take a little bit of the smallest bit of damage, but it reflects the damage back at enemies, basically killing them. So instead of having this weird moment of like you just sucking in damage and throwing it back, it's you being able to run and gun while enemies just fall around you because you're reflecting the damage back at them as soon as they hit. Now, I don't know if this is going to be the best for endgame, because when enemies get hit with their own damage, they kind of get like thrown back. And I don't know if that's the best case for like clearing out a room. Although when you're waiting, enemies can basically hide behind a wall, and you throw bullets back at them, they'll just hit the wall. So there is an issue there, so you need to be careful. But I also got this, increases damage of reflected bullets back at enemies. Also, I got this, increases the skill duration of reflected bullets. So I'm pretty damn built for reflective bullets. Just making that one god tier ability even stronger. And as you guys will be able to see, it's good. It's just not like it's not like the Trickster, where the Trickster, you're like, what the fuck? Like when you activate terror rounds with a big ass magazine, you're just like done. You sneak up behind people, and also you're just gaining so much shield, so you have so much survivability. And yeah, also this thing has it feels really good to crit hit with it. Now again, I'm just trying to show you guys the legendary weapon. It's kind of good. It's flashy, but there'll be moments when you're not getting headshots, and it's kind of a nightmare. Also, I'm getting a little rickety wrecked, so I'm just going to kill you real close. And again, Devastators are not supposed to kill things from far away, so again, a touch of a nightmare. Boom, come on. Oh, fuck it, I'll just do this. and we'll take care of you guys real quick. Okay, so that was fast. Anyways, we're gonna go with the shotgun. The shotgun should be a legendary in its own right. It's just mean, and this is the ability of that one reflecting ability now, to where it always reflects. And yeah, every enemy is getting staggered back. He's gonna kill himself by shooting me. If I wasn't this close, I am really pretty close to him, which is why it's being a bit finagly. I'm gonna do that, get some health back. We're gonna shoot you again. We're regenerating a ton of health with every kill. It's just kind of nutty. We can also go Golem if we want. And yes, it's a different kind of beast. I also lucked out on getting weapons. Like, this shotgun is just crazy. Like, yeah. Snipers are also as crazy, especially for boss clearing. If you can have a sniper rifle that hits really, really hard, and you just pluck their head a couple times and you get them done as soon as possible so they're not just sitting there healing again, is massive. We're gonna do that with this one, and this is where the reflection you truly get to see, because every enemy is just gonna be hammering me, and it's just a lot, honestly. Again, where the Trickster has his benefit is he can like pop a bubble, shoot them, all of them, and just wreck them. This one I have a legendary. Wait, what? Did person jump into my game? Yeah, person jumped into my game. Okay. Well, anyways, we're gonna activate this reflect. Okay. Little weird. Someone jumped in the game. I wasn't aware of it. We're gonna stagger him. I can't really show you it because the game scales up, so things are just a little bit more tanky than normal. A little sketchy. Oh, I'm gonna touch your chest. Quick, we're doing these. All right. Well, I didn't. Let's run it back. Shit. Take it off co-op. Because yeah, I wasn't expecting that to happen. The reason why I'm not doing a co-op is because the game scales itself up with more people in your party, so I can't really showcase the damage and the craziness of the character if I do that. So, but I do think it's pretty awesome. Or maybe guess it's kind of bad, but the shotgun that we have is kind of more of a legendary than the legendary that we got. The legendary kind of seems, I've seen other legendaries that aren't like this, but the legendary rifle seems kind of gimmicky, where it's like, ooh, when you get a hit, you do this massive AoE that doesn't deal any damage, but it's like real flashy. And it's like, okay. Also, it's on a 3-second cooldown, so I can't like keep applying this like splash damage, so it's kind of a little blech. And again, I've seen some people who get like a legendary pistols, which are just awesome. They just like, well, again, they're legendary, so their damage scales up because of that, and they just kind of melt things, but I'm assuming that's just because, yeah. But again, I want to see legendary perks that like, when you get when you score a critical hit, it spawns like a fire spark that hits an enemy, and there's no cooldown, but it doesn't deal that much damage, but it does look, it looks awesome. With like this, just a constancy of these little tiny like fireflies coming off this person's head every time you get a crit. Stuff like that to me is like, come on, come on, people can fly. Show me you can fly and do some cool shit. Also, what we get, because we complete that, I do want to show you guys the reflect, because I couldn't really do it there because, yeah, they were kind of like, I need to like aggro as much fire as I possibly can with people. Killing shots, ooh, this is also good. Shit. Should we try this one? Killing shots grant 15 lifesteal, 20% boost for a long period of time. It does do more damage. Let's try it. This one I do believe has more weapon leech, only a little bit. Let's try it. Let's see if this one's as good as my other one. I'm getting a lot of shotguns for the Devastator. Love it. Also, the one thing that I do kind of fuck up on is I try to show you guys things in sequence. So I try to show you guys the weapon without any sort of bells and whistles, but you absolutely can double down on most things. Like if I can activate my reflect right here and just stand in the open and just get people to kill themselves inadvertently, which is pretty dope. Like, see that the marksman up there is shooting himself. But also I applied a bleed effect. But again, I do still take damage, so unless I have to make sure that I'm at least a little bit close. I need to make sure that I'm at least a little bit close. Also, we're gonna get some lifesteal. Alright, don't shoot me, sniper rifle. Ooh. Ooh. See, just like that. I went from having no health to max health because these weapons can be pretty damn good. Boom, killed immediately. The shotgun just as good as the other one. Oh, shotguns are so mean. Shotguns are so mean. Okay, so what I could do is I could do this, and I could activate my reflect, and I'm reflecting all their damage back at them. I'm also close to them, so that I'm gaining a bunch of other stuff. Health regen, because I'm really close to them. Also, you have to look at them because it is... I bet you can get a perk that basically gives you 360 shield, so there's no... You can basically not take damage ever. And again, even if I didn't have the reflect, like the auto reflect, it's not exactly necessary. It just makes things kind of faster because you can keep shooting and keep dealing damage, and that in itself is just kind of crazy. Okay, so now this time, without someone jumping in the world and increasing the rank, let's just put a reflect on and just start hitting the boss in the head. In the head. Again, this is... It seems like a good rule of thumb to take in the future is that you're gonna want to take make sure bosses, you have like a sniper rifle or anything on hand, just so when you're fighting bosses you can really just melt them, and then we just kill the boss in a couple seconds. So but with that being said though, I have everything perfectly matched up for this character. So yeah, let's activate Golem. Also, let's do this. Yeah. So you guys would be like, but Grin, that was a faster clear than the what's his name? Than the Trickster, right? Yeah. But I also have everything feeding into one skill. The Trickster doesn't need much of anything. You have blighted rounds? Good. Big magazine weapon? Good. You have your bubble? Good. That's it. And then you can just infinitely run those chains, whereas this one, I happen to have every single perk leading into one ability. So yeah, the ability should be pretty stupid because everything is going into the same ability. And the odds of you being able to do this at any point within the middle point of the game is really, really low. And again, the Trickster has so many abilities in his actual skill tree that just increases your damage by 50% for 10 seconds. The Devastator has one ability that's like that, or two abilities that's like that, and it affects weapon damage and anomaly damage, where the Trickster has 3 abilities all going into weapon damage. It's like, yeah, in the Trickster's abilities, like his special, like the things that activate his mod, an armor mod that amplifies his skills, what I meant to say. He has some amazing ones of those too. So yeah, if anything, I think the other characters like the fire person, they need a little help when it comes to getting going. But I feel like, again, at the end of the game, those characters are going to be incredibly good. I do think, though, I still will be going with the Devastator as my first playthrough, and then the Trickster. Although I do think, just advice, if anyone's having trouble with the game, or like wants to kind of like get through it quickly and not have this weird, like kind of weird back and forth, I do feel like the Trickster will be your character just to plow through the game, in my opinion. Also, earthquakes inflict a bleed. Okay. I will say, I wish I would have seen more cool, like, perks in the game, because the whole, like, earthquakes or, like, abilities applying a bleed status is cool, but not as cool as stuff like this, where, like, it auto-reflects for you. It completely changes the skill to some extent. And I get that can be bad if you have a good piece of armor, but it has a shitty perk on it that changes the function of an ability to work against you, not for you. But I'm getting real lucky. We're getting some absolutely cracked weapons, shotguns, I mean, for the Devastator. But alas, that is going to be where we kind of call it. Essentially, I really, really do like the look of the legendaries, but man... And it's not bad, it's just not like, yeah, it's a rough first legendary to get. It looks so cool. It looks so, like, just corrupted, insane, alien. I love it. The look of it. I will say the perk on it, if this is always going to be Rogue's Gaze or whatever this is, perk, the Weaken Trap, I am a little saddened by that prospect because it looks so cool. And if this special thing is this, then that's a little not good for me. But they did talk about how you can actually break down legendary weapons and put the mods on other legendary weapons. The thing is that I don't like the Weaken Trap, which I do believe is the legendary perk on this weapon, so sad. If it didn't have the cooldown, then it would be pretty massive, or even if it just had like 1.5 seconds of a cooldown, that would at least be something. But it doesn't. It has a 3-second cooldown, which is like, oh, okay, well, I guess when the fourth enemy I eventually shoot, he'll get a weaken stat on him, but what's the odds of him being near enemies, you know? So it kind of starts to dissolve a little bit there. But the shotgun, on the other hand, the shotgun's mean weapon. It looks a little like low poly, but it's a badass weapon. It's got vampire, but then I also love that like you can get a blue weapon that just happens to have like vampire and like good its firepower perk is weapon life leech, you're good. You can just run up to people and bang, heal, you know? So you can kind of survive in a different way, which is really, really cool. Very much excited for Outriders, guys. Hopefully by the time I upload this, it's right around the corner, and I will be covering the game and trying to keep you guys up to date on everything that they've added, little patch notes that they release when the game is finally launched. I'll be trying to cover it, keeping you guys up to date on everything because I'm super excited for the game, and hopefully you are too. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. If anyone did take the courtesy and time to actually like the video and etc., and I appreciate that very much. Thank you so much for your time. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day, and goodbye. Also, let me know, full stop, let me know what you guys got. Am I missing, like, is this the kind of like the tone of the legendaries? Is like a perk that's on a 3-second cooldown and applies a weird status that no one really knows about, weaken, which you kind of know about, but it's just kind of like a weaken stat. Or are there abilities that, like, I don't know, decrease your ability cooldown by 1 second on critical hit or something? You know, is there stuff like that? Because there's stuff like that, then I'm game. I'm super game. But, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Hope you guys do enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you again, and goodbye.